Hi there and welcome back to part 3 where we're going to texture paint our spider. Now, a little disclaimer, I'm not an artist, so I know how to do things, but it doesn't mean I'm any good at doing them. So I'll show you how, and I'll have a little go at doing this and finishing it off. So what we're going to do is just jump to the texture paint, the next tab on. So we've done some layout, we've done modeling, we skipped over sculpting, and we did the UV editing to get the UV layout. Now we're on to the texture paint part. Now you'll see that the UV layout is on the left hand side over here, but it's changed our setup so that we've got everything set up ready to start texture painting this spider. Now we still have everything available to us, so right now we had disabled the viewport here for this subdivision surface, but we can switch this back on quite happily and then just get on with the texture painting for this. Now before we do anything, you need to make sure that you've saved this file. So if you click File and Save and then find the location, mine's is saved actually in a folder, and that's kind of important because we're going to create some materials, some textures, and we need somewhere to put them as well, and they should be next to this. So you can see that I've practiced a little bit with this one. So we're going to make sure that it's saved in its own folder so that you can find these files when you're ready. You'll see that we've got this beautiful purple view right now, which means that it doesn't have any textures as part of the material. So we're just going to go and look up to the main toolbar here. You'll see here it says no textures, and if we were to go down to this tab, which looks like a little golf ball, the material context, you'll see that there's actually no material attached to it. So we do need one. There is one already set up, so I'm just going to click the little ball and then click on this material, and we're going to call this spider material. Now a material is made up of more than one texture in most cases, and so this spider material has these settings that you can play around with, and in the last tutorial we worked on just changing to a basic color, but we're going to be a bit more advanced in this one, and we're going to work with the actual textures. So if we go back to this main tab again, the one with the little spanner and the screwdriver, you'll see that we're going to start creating some textures for this material. So Blender 2.8 is awesome for this. You can put multiple layers and it does all of the shading and nodes for you. So we don't currently have a texture, so we're going to click plus over here on the right hand side, and we're going to choose the base color. Now you'll notice that we can do specular, roughness, metallic, normal, bump and displacement, so it really is powerful this. And if we click on base color, we can choose some of the options, so it will give it the same name as our material, and then it will add the extension base color. We can set the size of this, so 1024 by 1024 is okay. This is not going to be seen from really up close, so we'll leave it at that. And then this box here for color, we're going to set the base color. Now in my research I saw that a sort of a light brownish color most of the time the spiders look like, so the color of most of it will be over this light brown color, and then we're just going to click OK, and you'll see immediately that the light brown color sort of appears on it. Now this is an opportunity to look at the different viewport types as well. So the viewport shading you'll see in the top right hand side of all of the viewports. This is the standard viewport shading. We've also got look dev, which is it uses the reflections from the environment, so you get to see a bit more of a realistic view. And obviously we've got real-time EV shading as well, the viewport shading. So this is exactly what it'll look like in game. It doesn't really matter which one you're on, because when we're set up for texture painting, you'll only see the texture that you're painting currently on the standard solid viewport shading. So to get onto this, we've actually created a spider material base color. It is sitting there in memory, it's not been saved as a file yet. So on the left hand side we want to be able to apply it to this map. So if you click the little one that looks like a landscape, and you'll see it's available as a drop down, so spider material base color is right here, and this image hasn't yet been saved. So I'm just going to click, and before I forget I'll just save it now, so I'll click image and then we'll say save as, and it gives it a default name. usually the correct name, and it also puts in the same folder that you saved your Blender file in. So that's always, that's why I suggested that you save it first. So we've got the base color set up, and we'll click Save As Image. So we have this, this ready set up, and we can start painting on it. So as I mentioned before, I'm not really an artist, but I'll show you the tools, and I'll leave you to paint. So we've got this, this light color, and what we're going to do is with this draw tool, we can paint any color that we want by changing the color from the color picker over here. So if I want to maybe pick a new color, so we've got white selected. So if I click on the little box here, we get the color picker, and we can adjust it, or we can use the dropper tool to try and pick a particular color. So if I quite like the darker brown, then I've picked that darker brown, and with the draw tool I can start drawing. Now the radius and strength are here. If you right click, you can set the color, radius and strength all from the right click menu, which is really powerful. The other option that you can do is the shortcut keys. So hang on one second, I'll just put my screencast keys on. So the shortcut keys are F to change the size. If you press Control F, you can change the direction, and you can press Alt F and you can change, Shift F, and you can change the power. So that's the strength of it. That would be maximum strength, and that would be minimum. So if you want it to be quite powerful, you can put the strength all the way up, and I'm going to try and make some black or darker brown across this. So I'm just going to try and create some stripes across the back of this spider. If you zoom in, by the way, we're on sorry, I probably should have covered this as well. The blend style is mix, and most of the time you're going to use mix. And the way it works is it just mixes with the colour underneath it. So you do see the colour come through. With the strength of 1, it would eventually go all the way up to that colour. So I'm just going to press F again and make this a bit smaller. I'm just going to put some stripes across the back of this spider, and try and make them sort of shape, and a few more, some shape down the back too. Alright, maybe we'll sharpen up this one too. This is, if you hover back over it again, it will draw again. Alright, we want to also make this eye black, and one little thing that you want to do is it's quite difficult to paint exactly onto the right places. So what you can do is you can synchronize, you can just paint a particular face. So if you go into the object mode for now, sorry, not object mode, into edit mode, and select just the faces that you want. So I'll go to face select and select the faces that I want to paint on, and then go back into the texture paint mode, and there is a button that you can find called the face mask. I believe it's paint mask, that one, yep. With this one highlighted, then only the selected faces you're allowed to paint. So you did need to make sure that you were in edit mode and select the faces, and then go back into texture paint and use that button in order to do it. So I'm just going to select black, so I'll click here all the way down to black, and then with the mix you can put the radius up a little bit and make sure the power is all the way up to 1, and that paints it all the way to black. So I'm just going to go out into the other eye, so we go into edit mode, make sure you're in face select, select the 4, 5 faces that I want to use, and just paint these ones, and then back into texture paint mode, and because I've still got black selected, I can paint straight over. You see it leaves just those faces as black. Now the rest of this painting is literally down to just your artistic talent. I think what I'll probably do as well is just make these fangs black as well. So one more time, go out into edit mode, select the faces that I want, so I'm just going to select these ones, there. All the way. It might be quite difficult to get these bottom faces. Let's go around, holding shift and selecting. Cool. Looks like I've got all of them, so they're selected now. If I go back into texture paint, you'll see that they're all highlighted. So once again, I'll only get the faces that I have selected when I do this one. And because I'm using a strength of 1, it should go all the way black. I didn't choose the bottom ones, but it should be alright. Alright, there's probably a lot more I could do with this. But you kind of get the idea. I might put a little bit of black around the corners, the creases in here as well. So I'll go back into edit mode, and actually I'll stay in texture paint mode and just switch that off, and then I'll have control over where I paint. So just going around the back here, I'm going to maybe change the colour back up again. So use that one, colour picker, pick the same colour, approximately the same colour that I had before. Maybe make it a wee bit darker still, and just zoom in. I'm just going to go with a smaller brush right now and just push some stripes down the back here. Just curve those off a little bit. You notice the UVs are shared across this, so what you end up seeing is that it's mirrored on both sides. Okay, we could keep going with this. I'll probably just pause the video a little bit and just have a little play around and try and make it a little bit cooler, so maybe a little bit lighter, not quite as much strength, and try and just shade in these little bits around the ridge of this. Alright, I'm going to pause the video and just keep playing around. Maybe play this at higher speed for you as I play around with just getting some shape to this texture. And there we go. So we have the texture looks a little bit muddier. The last thing that you absolutely must remember is that because you've saved this image, the image, when you change it, hasn't been saved. It doesn't automatically save. Even if you save the Blender file, you'll notice that the image still has this star over it. And this is really, really important. I probably should have mentioned it before, but if you need to save the image as well. So we click Image and Save. The other thing that we can do to make this look slightly better is to move into smooth shading. So if you click on Object Mode, right click and say Shade Smooth, you'll see that all of a sudden some of those colours really start to come out. There's lots more to do with UV unwrapping and with texture painting, and I'll maybe touch on that in the next video. This one's gone on long enough, but hopefully the spider's starting to look pretty cool and pretty scary. Well, we've enjoyed it, and in the next one we'll look a little bit more into texture painting and start moving into rigging and animating this thing. Cheers.